One of the challenges of working in a receding market is the press. The press are telling us all the time about how damning it is out there. The newspaper headlines are coming up over and over again with doom and gloom stories. Look, we shouldn't be surprised about that. That is what newspapers do. Plenty of newspapers have tried to tell good news stories, but hell, nobody buys them. And we've got to understand what newspapers are. Newspapers are in business not to distribute information. That's not what newspapers are for. Newspapers are in business to make money. That's it. And we've got to understand that those newspapers out there aren't trying to give us a balanced viewpoint about what's going on out there. They are simply trying to sell newspapers. That's all. So when you read a newspaper, and I love to read newspapers, when you read a newspaper, be very careful. The other thing you've got to bear in mind with newspapers is that newspapers give you news. Now, we know that, of course, but you've got to think about what news is. News is things that don't normally happen. If it normally happens, it's not news, so it doesn't get in the newspaper. So when you read in the newspaper that a particular politician has been caught with their fingers in the till, we shouldn't be thinking to ourselves, this is all over, everybody's doing it. Because if everybody's doing it, it wouldn't get in the papers. It only gets in the papers because it's unusual, because it's news. I personally think that newspapers should come with a health warning like cigarettes do. You know, big lines at the bottom of the paper. Danger, this newspaper could seriously damage your perspective. Because it could, couldn't it? You've got to be careful. So, we're not in a recession, but it sure does feel like it out there. So what do? Well, we make a few mistakes, and that's very, very common mistakes we make in a recession. We're trying to achieve budget. We're not getting there this year. So what do? We do MOTS. What's MOTS? More of the same. We do more of what we've been doing already. And of course, this is not going to work. Whatever you did last year, if you try and do it this year, in a receding market, if you do the same things this year as you did last year, you're going to get declining results. That's the way it works. We have to be more creative. What else do we do? In a declining market, what do? We work harder. We work longer hours. Also not going to work. It's not going to help just to work harder. We might need to be much more creative. Worse still, we become happy with less. How many of us in this room have changed our budgets this year? Have downgraded just a little bit. A huge mistake. We become happy with less and we accept it as inevitable. It's not inevitable. We can make a difference out there. And the speakers